Hello lovely viewers and welcome to today's episode of Glitz Sports Express News, where we give you nothing but the best. Well, I've told you we'll be giving you sports updates, tidbits, transfer news, injury, whatever sports news there is in this world. Well, before we get into today's news, I'd kindly ask you to subscribe to our channel, like, hit the notification button, share, comment. Well, that's why the comment section is there. Well, you can also follow us on TikTok, Threads, Instagram. On Facebook, we have a WhatsApp channel, and then on X, we are Glitz Express. On every other social media handle, we are Glitz Sports Express. Well, you can get detailed news on our website, www.glitzsportsexpress.com. So before we get into today's news, I told you we give you breaking news, exclusives, and every other sporting news. But we'll start with something very sad. Well, you know, it's saddening when a fan goes to the stadium to watch football. It's just joy going to support your team. All of us to just end up on the wrong side of whatever incident happens. Well, MS Algiers, the current leaders of the Algerian league, well, were playing a match in anticipation of their coronation as champions. Well, it didn't go as planned. I know many people have been watching series of these things elsewhere, but a fan accidentally lost their life or his life after a barrier broke and then hits that fan. Well, it isn't one of the things we expect in football. You know, I remember another director of an authority in another African country said that the national stadia was a death trap, like it was a crime scene that needed to be locked up, but it's still active. You know, these are some of the things that push fans out of the stadium. I'm going to the stadium to watch a game, support the team I like. Just in case that fan didn't lose his or her life and got injured in something I would say incurable, get amputated or lose an eye, then what happens? These are certain things that these authorities need to look out for. Other than that, very soon the stadiums will be empty. That's one thing I know for sure, because people go to the stadiums to support their teams in happiness. Just in case it was my brother, it was my sister, I would have that phobia of never going to the stadium. Well, it's very saddening, but whatever and however, Glitz Sports Express, we send our condolences to the family and friends of the affected victim and wish they find solace or whilst they are in this mourning state. Remember, we've been giving you updates on the FIFA Club World Cup. Well, Luis Enrique and his team, PSG, the current champions of Europe, after losing to Botafogo, the South American champions, had this to say. Well, it isn't that they didn't play a good game, it's just that Botafogo on the night were more determined. Well, let me read what Luis Enrique said. So he said it was a very tight game. Well, he's talking about Botafogo. So Botafogo defended very well, like almost no team in League One or the Champions League. Playing against us is an extra source of motivation for our opponent. We need to be better. Well, you don't need to be their motivation. Botafogo were champions in the South American League. That's why they are there. They are probably your motivation to play better. They top the table where PSG is. Well, the three South American teams currently lead the league logs or the FIFA Club World Cup log. So that's his opinion though. Javier Mascherano, the Argentine former player, has said something. Well, remember, after Inter Miami came back from a 1-0 to win 2-1 against Porto, well, Messi scored a stunning free kick to give them the lead. You know, everybody has been bashing Messi here and there after some couple of games where he didn't shine or where he didn't show up. Well, Messi showed up when it mattered the most. he scored a stunning free kick to give Inter Miami the lead against Porto. Well, after the game, many people have been saying what they want to say. They now realize that Messi is the man of the... But, well, Javier Mascherano, the former Argentine player and the current Inter Miami coach, after his team won 2-1 against Porto, had a lot of things to say. Well, remember, Lionel Messi has been bashed following a series of losses with Inter Miami and how many claim he hasn't showed up when it really mattered. Well, he showed up when he was on the verge of relegation, or yes, of elimination. They were 1 goal down against Porto. Inter Miami overturned this deficit with the Lionel Messi stunning free kick to give them the lead. Well, right after, many people started hyping Messi again, put him in pole position, like, yeah, he's already controlling the FIFA Club World Cup. Many people have argued it's just one game to call, but Mascherano has had this to say as the manager of Inter Miami. Well, let me read this to you. So he said, he guides us. He's talking about Messi. He shows us where we need to go next, football-wise. What else can I say? Well, what else can you say? You are the coach. You should tell us. He continued to say he's the best player to have played the sport in history. But it is surprising. It is his desire to win that surprises us. Well, it's true. Like the Thiago Silvas, like the Cristiano Ronaldos, like the Messis, and their edge to still play is still surprising to everybody. Well, no, because today, even in the final minutes, tired, injured, he continued to help the team in every way, in the offensive phase, in the defensive phase, to get the results. Well, we watched the game. I watched the game. Defensive-wise, he wasn't there. Offensive-wise, he was there. He showed up when it mattered. He scored that free kick to give them the lead. That's all that matters. Sometimes adding certain comments to something that doesn't happen or didn't happen is way overboard. Well, we know Lionel Messi already. He's the magician in football, so you don't have to tell us a lot. Chelsea are the next on the chopping board. Chelsea lost to Flamengo in a very funny way. The scoreline surprised everyone. They lost by 3-1. Well, the really funny equation here is that they played against Felipe Luis, the former Chelsea winger. Or he wasn't even a winger, he was a left back. Felipe Luis was also a player of Atletico Madrid. Well, it was surprising because Chelsea took an early lead through Pedro Neto, only to come back and lose by 3-1. Well, it's in that same game that Nicolas Jackson, after being subbed on in the 64th minute, went in with a rough tackle where he got sent off 4 minutes after he came on. Well, Felipe Luis, after winning against Chelsea, said this to the media. I told Maresca I lost 4 nights sleep because they have the most complete tactical play in Europe and the players understand their model. Well, this is something, it's like somebody giving you a tip-off. Somebody telling you you are good doesn't need to make you complacent. You need to work more. Well, he says weather could be a factor leveling the playing field between Europe and South America at the Club World Cup, but says that South American club like Flamengo could win this competition. It's no news. Corinthians won it against Chelsea. So if a South American team wins this, it's nothing new. It's just one of those stories. Former Liverpool star, Senegalese player and current Al Nassr striker Sadio Mane, when asked why he left Europe for Saudi Arabia or for the Saudi Pro League, said a lot of things. Well, you know, I've said this over and over. Some people move out of their comfort zones because of retirement funds. Some people have a lot of families to feed, like they have lots of social responsibilities, and if the pairs from Europe is not enough, then they find greener pastures elsewhere. Well, this is the story of Sadio Mane. Well, Sadio Mane said He left Europe, first of all, because he loves Europe. He said, I love European football, and I will always be grateful to it for shaping me into the player that I am today. Leaving Europe was never my initial plan. But the reality is the financial support I received there wasn't enough to make the kind of impact I wanted to make back home. When the opportunity came to play in Saudi Arabia, I saw it as a way to do more for my people. The income I earn now allows me to truly help those in need in my country. That's what matters most to me, using what I have to make a difference in the lives of others. I know he's playing for himself and he's earning to make the lives of other people better. How many players would think this way? Well, we are not forcing any player to think that way. It's just his personal opinion. Well, if this is why Sadio Mane moved to the Saudi Pro League, then nobody can fault him. He's already made his name in Europe and he's one of the best, you would say. Well, remember Alexander Isak. Isak has now become the hot cake on the transfer market. Well, Newcastle have told Liverpool that they will only entertain a transfer request for Alexander Isak if the asking price is significantly greater than £150 million. Well, the key word is significant. £150 million. So we are not just talking about breaking the British transfer record. We are talking about something close to the world record, £200 million PSG paid to sign Neymar from Barcelona. Do you think Liverpool is going to pay £200 million to sign Alexander Isak? Well, let me know in the comment section. Nicolas Jackson, I told you, had a red card in the space of 4 minutes after being subbed on against Flamengo. Well, he let his team down, and he's had this to say. Well, after people bashed him, including Mikel Obi and other players, well, he said, I want to say sorry to the club, the staff, teammates, and all the fans watching. I let you down. Yes, you let them down. Another red card, and honestly, I am angry at myself. You don't need to be angry. It's part of football. I work hard every day to help the team, not to put us in this kind of situation. I still don't fully understand how it happened, and one thing is clear, it wasn't intentional. We all know it wasn't intentional. Sometimes a high foot trying to get the ball in some areas and then it ends up there, so we understand. Well, just a football moment that went the wrong way. No excuses. I take full responsibility. I'll reflect so I grow, and I'll come back stronger for the badge and also for everyone who believes in me. Sorry, sorry, sorry. And he added a blue. He is a blue. Well, teams in the Italian league are already chasing after Nicolas Jackson. Do you think it's time for him to move on? Chelsea have now signed Delap. Well, is Delap enough to move Nicolas Jackson out of the club? Well, let me know in the comments. Boxing lovers, remember, it's Alexander Usyk versus Daniel Dubios. Well, Alexander Usyk has had a long-time promoter, Alexander Krasuk. Well, there's been announcements that he has ended every tie with his long-time promoter, Alex Krasuk. Well, whatever happened before they parted ways, nobody knows, but that's the updates gearing towards the undisputed heavyweight clash between Dubios. Former Wolves boss Bruno Lage was involved in a furious row with his own player at the FIFA Club World Cup. Well, I don't know how his backroom staff is working, but this is one thing that it's not supposed to be accepted in football in any way. Well, from the Benfica manager howled of Okran Koku against Auckland City, leaving the midfielder furious as he refused to shake Lage's hand and sulked from the field. Well, it's normal. Sometimes these tactical changes bring you off the bench or put you on the bench. You have to understand, you can't always be playing. It's one of those things you understand. Well, I told you Auckland City players, they are like two-time workers. Some work in Coca-Cola shops and other things. Well, Mario Illich, Auckland City captain and Coca-Cola sales manager, had this to say about his daily routine. People say professional players work hard, which they do, but we are trying to compete at the highest level of the game while holding down two. Two means 2 jobs. In the same case, 3 jobs. My typical day starts around 5 a.m. I get up and go to the gym for half an hour, returning for breakfast and arriving at the office by 8 a.m. I try to finish before 5 p.m. so I can cross the city to training, which starts at 6 a.m. We spend about 2 hours on the pitch and I get home around 9 a.m. before going to bed and doing it again the next day. I only get to see my partner on Friday night. Well, it's good. Friday nights are always awesome, or rarely on a Sunday. Fortunately, she's very understanding and allows me to pursue my dreams. How many wives will allow you to pursue this kind of wild dream? Only Friday nights. How many wives will allow you? Well, this is where we end today's session of Glitz Sports Express's update on any sports news you'd ever think of. Well, remember, the only way you can support Glitz Sports Express is by subscribing to our YouTube channel. Hit the like, the notification button, share so others would see what we are posting. Well, you can also follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Threads, Facebook, and on TikTok at Glitz Sports Express, and then on X at Glitz S Express. We'll see you in our next update.